Hey guys, Leon here, and haven't made one of these in a long time. It's been about honestly 3 years since I've made an actual live commentary, and I feel like I need to kind of come out of my shell here and just say hello and that I'm not dead. I have been live streaming every now and then, but not to the extent of making actual videos. So, hi. So I think that everybody has been kind of seeing the news around Battlefield 6, right? The whole no pre-order movement, which is horribly failing, by the way, as Battlefield 6 is continuing to be #1 on the charts for top-selling upcoming games. So even surpassing some of even the other biggest titles, even surpassing the Steam Deck purchases, which is pretty crazy. And so when we start to think about Battlefield 6 and how this is being marketed and all this kind of stuff, is it going to be like 2042? I think that since we've gotten a lot of gameplay so far, even the play event, you have to understand too, though, that that's like in its best build state, right? So, you know, what if they have a newer version that is not doing so great because of maybe features they added, right? So they've had to been playing on a more simpler build of the game. But I mean, I don't want to discredit Battlefield 6 and what they've done because it does look very polished. Of course, I think I've been tracking the pre-game or pre-alpha stuff for about maybe 2 or 3 months now through Battlefield Labs. Unfortunately, I never got invited to Battlefield Labs. However, I did get early access because I signed up on day 1 of Battlefield Labs getting announced. And of course, anybody that signed up for Battlefield Labs before July 31st, you automatically have early access to the open beta coming up this weekend. And so I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking on how to kind of compare this to Call of Duty, right? I have been kind of a Call of Duty channel for a while. I am not a Call of Duty like nut, though, when it comes down to all the new games, right? I don't play Warzone. I rarely play any of the newer games. I think maybe the only game I kind of enjoy is probably going to be Modern Warfare 3 and the newer one, so not old school Modern Warfare 3. I still find myself like trying to go back to Modern Warfare 2, the older one from 2009. I actually just recently bought a PlayStation 3 just to play it because PC is just it's unsafe, and PS3 you get pretty good lobbies of they're hacked lobbies, but at least they're like hosts that make fair game rules, right? Like they change it from team deathmatch to domination, from ground war if the lobbies reform. So it seems like a lot of people with cheated or hacked or modded or whatever you want to say the PS3s these days, most people that are like hacking are actually just creating servers, I think, at the end of the day. So think of it like kind of like a serverless, but it's like with matchmaking, and then they control the rules for their server. Okay, so that's kind of how it is on like PS3. Now Xbox, it's a little worse, I would say. There's a lot more hacking. There's a guy in there that there we go, spotted him last second, and that's actually something I'm really excited about, is just the spotting system. I was watching the spotting system of Battlefield 6, and it kind of returned back to form where we're having these weird, because like all the recent games they've been kind of odd with, you know, you can ping somebody, but it's not like actually pinging them. It's kind of weird, like especially like 2042. If people were spamming the ping button, it would just like mark a location, and especially if your squad mate died, it would just be the most annoying sound on the planet. It's just over and over, like ping, ping, ping. I spawned right into an enemy. And that's also too something I really do enjoy with the newer games. Like Battlefield 4 introduced like spawn protection in a way where you couldn't spawn on a teammate that was engaged in combat, whereas Battlefield 3, they don't give two shits. They're like, here you go, throwing you right in the action. So I think that returning to form for Battlefield 6 is going to definitely be the right move, right? So I think that they've probably been developing this game, I would guarantee you, since probably Battlefield 5's like end of support, and then they put everybody into Battlefield 6. That's where I think the development stages actually started. Now, development doesn't necessarily mean like maps, guns, soldiers, or anything like that. Usually the start of development is, you know, concept, proof of concept, seeing what kind of technologies are viable at the time. Of course, a lot of planning goes into it, right? So I don't think that all the maps and everything were created like 6 or 7 years ago, right? But I do think that Battlefield 6 was essentially designed in a framework to say, okay, well, we're getting really bad reception on Battlefield 5 in a way that things don't feel correct, and Battlefield 5 itself just did not launch great until like later on when they started updating it. I mean, that's the weird stigma that Battlefield has around it, right? Battlefield 3, you had a bunch of glitches, right? You didn't have as many issues as something like Battlefield 4. I think Battlefield 4 comes to mind when we're starting to talk about the real jankiness of Call of Duty. Call of Duty has its own problems, but Battlefield. So when we're thinking about like the jankiness of Battlefield, I think Battlefield 4 comes to mind. Let's see if I can get up and around. These choppers are a lot slower. Oh, I don't have the like 30 millimeter. Oh no, I have the little bullets. That was awful. That was like a Call of Duty player coming to play Battlefield. You know, they just crashed the helicopter the first second they get in. Oh my goodness. Oh, that should have hit. Come on now. Just to kind of just talk about Call of Duty, you know, I've been a Call of Duty player pretty much all my life, and just it's sad the way that Call of Duty has morphed itself. I mean, it's in a complete identity crisis. Do I think Battlefield went through an identity crisis? I honestly don't think it did. I think they just made some really bad decisions, and people just wanted to see a chart go up, and they pretty much they ate shit. Basically, they tried to perform the trick, and they just landed flat on their face, and it did not work for what true Battlefield fans really wanted. And I've been a Battlefield fan for a very, very long time. I mean, I remember playing 1942 back when like the PS3 days, you know, right when it kind of came out, or even like on PC, like some of the older games. I think 1942 actually got some of it, or maybe that was 1943. I think that was on PS3, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I did play like 1942 on a really old computer way back in the day. Surprised these shots are not landing. But yeah, I can conceptually say that I've been a Battlefield player for a very long time. And Battlefield 3, in this example, is no slouch. Battlefield 3 is probably one of the most memorable battlefields that we've had since its inception, right? Battlefield 4 came out, and again, I started talking about some of the jankiness. Battlefield 4 had crashing, servers crashing, client crashes. It felt honestly like we were playing a beta. Like, it straight up was just released, and it was not functional. Literally took them 6 months. They got with what was the studio at the time, the one in LA? Well, it was Dice LA. So Dice LA essentially fixed it, and I think Dice LA today is Ripple Effect, if I'm right on that. Maybe, because I know there's Motive, Ripple Effect, Dice, and I'm forgetting one of them, Criterion. So yeah, I really do think it was like Ripple that essentially morphed from Dice LA. But now, of course, the entire franchise of Battlefield is now being made by Battlefield Studios, which is kind of like Call of Duty in a way. Call of Duty usually has its own separate branding for each game, right? So we see Treyarch and maybe High Noon, or we see High Noon and maybe you know, Raven, something like that. Like, it's like that, but it's changed just a little bit, and now it's just Battlefield Studios. Let me see if I can push up this hallway without dying. Toss a little grenade in there. Come on now. That's crazy. Just like the screen shake is just insane. This game did have really bad bloom, though. I think that's like one of the biggest critiques I have of the game, and also just the color and the filtering, this like blue tint that you're kind of seeing everywhere. Everything is blue. Ooh, that's should have landed on somebody. Come on now. They got all the kills. But there's not necessarily like there's not any bad thing about these games. And what do I think about like Battlefield 6 as a whole? I think that honestly, since we're being shown at least gameplay, though it's kind of in its perfect light, I would still kind of be worried just a little bit, just because I'm still burned with 2042. I unfortunately bought 2042 on a third-party key website, so I couldn't refund it. I couldn't do anything with it. So I owned it. I owned it regardless whether it was good or bad. And I kind of committed to it because the trailer sold me. And we can reference the Battlefield 6 trailer, right? And it looks like, oh my God, they're coming back to form. Everything's good. But I've been burned before, and honestly, I don't want to touch the top of the stove anymore. So I have made a conscious choice that, maybe I won't pre-order before the beta, right? Or maybe I won't even pre-order at all until it comes out, and I can verify that other people are like playing just fine and not having any server issues or client crashes at the time. Because who wants to play a game, right? Who wants to buy a game that the first thing when they load up into it is just automatically crashing, like instantly? So I think I'm gonna wait until then. I do like, though, that it is going to be on Steam, and it's actually going to be independent from the EA app. So it's going to be able to use your Steam username, your display name, and everything. So if you change your display name, then I believe it will always just use your display name. That's what I've heard from some official channels that cover Battlefield, but don't quote me on that. That could be completely wrong. I am just spamming these rockets down this hallway. This is probably the most fun I've had in a long time. This kind of feels like Operation Metro. Speaking of Operation Metro, though, wasn't shown off in the trailer or in the official map release that they released on their blogs. So my guess is as soon as the game comes out, you're going to have people who love making maps and stuff like that. They're immediately going to hop on the train of trying to create a Metro for Battlefield 6. I think that Portal will be an essential tool that will uplift the entire community. Honestly, Portal in 2042 is just not it. It honestly just, we thought we were being sold this whole idea of being able to completely customize everything. And there were like a lot of cool scenarios, right, in Portal in the early stages where you can modify settings and things like that. But honestly, at the end of the day, it just started becoming just redundant, I guess you could say. But with the Battlefield 6 announcement of Portal and showing off all of the new ways that you can modify maps and things like that, and the language there is so weird, because in one video I see somebody's talking about, well, you're only going to be able to modify maps, and then the other videos I see saying that you can completely create your own custom maps with the assets that are available inside of Battlefield 6, right? So which is it, right? So I would maybe need to look back at the official channels, and there's no way I just killed that guy. That's insane. But other than that, what can you actually do? I don't think a lot of people know either. I think a lot of it's kind of like up in the air. They have released plenty of stuff on their blogs, but only time will tell when the game comes out. I think that Battlefield 6 is the COD killer. I think it's definitely going to dampen their sales this year, especially with how the economy is around the entire planet right now, the world economy, and how everything is being controlled by fiat currency. I truly do think that this year, especially if we're raising games up to, $70, $80, $90 for a regular price game, okay? I think that a lot of people are going to have to cut back on, well, which game do I buy this season, honestly? Like, even season. Do I spend the $80 or $100 on Battlefield 6, or do I wait for something like Black Ops 7, right? How, should I just get Game Pass, see how Black Ops 7 is, or how should I go from there? I think Call of Duty is just going through a massive identity crisis. I think that where we are today is just, I don't know who they're trying to cater to. I don't know if they're just trying to build a new audience, or if they believe, based on their sales projections, that skins just sell. Like, they just sell. Everybody wants, Nicki Minaj or American Dad characters, Family Guy, Ninja Turtles, all of these different just weird things that Call of Duty, if you told me back in 2009, 2010 that Call of Duty was going to have Nicki Minaj, American Dad, and Peter Griffin, walking around, right, inside of Call of Duty, I would have literally laughed at you and told you that you're insane. But also, too, if you told me that Bitcoin was going to be worth $115,000 per Bitcoin during that time, I would have also called you insane. So I think that anything can happen. in this world if you kind of commit to it, I guess you could say. But I just would have never thought that, right? That's crazy. That is crazy. I knifed him, and of course, Battlefield 3, it's only 50% health for a knife. But anyway, so I don't know. I think that Call of Duty is going to be in pretty bad shape this year. Coming back to Battlefield 3, I mean, there is definitely some nostalgia right here, right? And this is hopefully what I hope to have the same feeling with Battlefield 6. I think it's going to be a lot more chaotic. I honestly think that the way that Battlefield 6 today looks, based on the beta gameplay that we've seen, I do think it looks like a hybrid of this game, Battlefield 1, and Battlefield 5, all in one. Okay, so all of these games came together and made a baby. All right, even though you can only have 2 people make a baby. I mean, theoretically, we can like clone ourselves and crap now, so it's like weird. I don't know, Elon Musk like putting chips in our brains and shit like that. But anyway, I think that honestly, that the game, don't even know how that killed me. That was around the wall. But I think that the game just looks like a good hybrid between all of those titles. All right, let's get this kill. You're dead. Oh, that was the guy right in front of me. But hey, guys, look. What do you guys think of Battlefield 6? I haven't done one of these in a long time, so sorry if I'm just rambling, right? I really want to hear back from you guys, and I am so sorry that I've been away for so long. I just been unfortunately really busy with the newer job. Had a new job, by the way. And I bought a house, did a lot of things, like personally, working on the yard every day. No, you know, it's just different adult things, right? So sorry that I haven't been here every single day to be with you lovely people. But anyway, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace.